We're bringing you those live images now from Manyanja Road in Donholm, quite close to the Jacaranda grounds where NASA was supposed to hold their memorial prayers today. What we saw a few minutes ago was NASA leader Raila Odinga addressing his supporters there. He began by walking them through the year that has been, what has happened from a NASA perspective, sort of a narrative, events that have happened or transpired since this political process began up until today. He then went on to reference the People's Assembly that, he emphasized this is the future, this is where the people's voice will be heard. And then he assured his supporters that it's not over. Just because of what has happened in Kasarani today does not mean that the journey for NASA is over. And of course, we'll be talking to Sam Ogina in just a bit. Just to clarify exactly what the NASA leader had to say, of course, we picked up those live images halfway through his speech. And so Sam Ogina or even Stephen Leto will be able to tell us a little bit about what has happened. But just in case you joined us, there was a rally of sorts that was taking place at this location a couple of minutes ago, but it has now been dispersed by security forces there. It began with a few tear gas canisters being lobbed into the crowd, and thereafter the clear presence of police there to disperse all those who were in attendance. And now we can see them chasing the supporters far into the estates, away from this location so they do not assemble again. And of course, some sort of degeneration into running battles where you see supporters or youths there with stones and any sort of projectiles that they can get their hands on, and the police countering with tear gas canisters and firing into the air as well, so as to disperse them. And members of the press in the middle of this all trying to get you at home those pictures throughout the course of this very historic day in Kenya. Images from Kasarani where we saw President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto being sworn in for a second term. But now on the other side of town on Manyanja Road, this is in Donholm, a different picture altogether. And this is what is happening there at this moment. Let me come to you now, Prof. Kisiangani. This is basically what you alluded to just before we took these images in. You were talking about the fact that going to another election on the 26th of October revealed the divisive nature of our country as is, that many have said that we are okay, we have no problems, we are a bastion of peace and democracy, but nevertheless, these were not the images that many had hoped to see today. Okay, Prof, you can come in now. Just your thoughts. Even we've been in studio watching all this unfold. Your take?
Yes, it's a demonstration of, as we said, a demonstration of the problems we have in this country. And I think if you looked at the speeches, the president even alluded to this situation. I think he appreciates there is this situation unfolding, because he said even those who didn't vote for me, the president is aware that there are people who did not vote for him, including those who have now said, including Raila Odinga, that they don't recognize his presidency. So the bottom line is, what do we do in this kind of situation? You can see that one side of Nairobi is laughing and enjoying, another side is sad, and the police, same police paid by the taxpayers. One group is escorting visitors in peace, another group is fighting with the demonstrators. This is not a good situation, but it is a situation that, if you look at the speech of the president, is a situation that we can sort out. I think it would be difficult for the president, for example, to start negotiating with somebody who doesn't recognize him. But since he said he is the president of all, he must still not be pushed by what we are seeing on the streets and say, because they have said they don't recognize me, I'm not going to talk to them. If he does that, the country will completely, disintegrate. But if he says now, even if you don't recognize me, legally, I have satisfied the legal requirements of being president, so I have to be the one initiating certain programs. I have these MCAs who are there, I have these senators who are there. Some of the things you demand will require a legislative approach. And without these people who supported me, nothing will move. So can we talk? I think, despite what we are seeing, I'm sure the president should be thinking, I have still got to go and talk. I think he will approach them and still ask to be told.
He has very little time to find a common position with NASA leader Raila Odinga, because in that same speech, part of what we had as he was addressing his supporters is that on the 12th of December, Jamhuri Day, the People's Assembly will be the location, or will form a grouping that will swear him in. He will be Jamhuri Day, yes. And I mean, your reaction to that? We were trying to confirm that that's what he actually said in that rally.
You see, the bottom line is forming a government in a manner that is not provided for in the constitution will create a problem. That is the problem. I think we must appreciate. The constitution allows us to form government in a particular way. So if he is going to be sworn in and without the instruments of power, what impact does that have? So in my opinion, probably there is chance that he is talking about forming a government to raise the stakes. To raise the stakes so that
during the time of negotiations,
so that during the time of negotiations he has a chance to get certain things his own way. If he kept quiet right now, probably he would be ignored. But when he ruffles feathers like this, before 12th of December, I think a number of people will have reached him. But in terms of impact, I think if we have had the Chief Justice, the judiciary has presided over today's function and before that it declared Uhuru as duly elected. IBC has done that. All those institutions have done that. I think NASA should look for the constitutional means by which it can get power. I think, let's not make this mistake. Some people think that what NASA has been doing is through county assemblies is illegal. It is not. If you look at Article 1 and 2 of the Constitution, you know sovereignty of the people, all sovereignty belongs to the people of Kenya. And 2, it says that the sovereignty of the people can be practiced directly by the people or through their elected representatives. So, for example, these county assemblies are not illegal. They are a statement from the point of view of direct exercising of people's sovereignty.
Although they don't have structures.
They don't have structures, but they are still legal. But even when they pass certain legal things, they need to now engage. They are telling the organized groups like Parliament that, look, you are not doing the job we ask you to do. So we want now to set the agenda for you. So if they decide they want a referendum, now they tell them, now we are directing you, you go and do this. But if Parliament, for some reason, does not do what they do, we have what you call the recall clause within the Constitution. Some of the elected leaders should be recalled if they are not doing the job we want. Because if you are a People's Assembly and you just say, we have passed this, how do you make it into law or effective? So
on that question, Prof, I'll interrupt you to get an update now from Sam Ogina, who has just been monitoring the activities along Manyanja Road. Sam, what can you tell us now?
Wahija Maura, as you can see, the satellite pictures coming to you from Manyanja Road. This is exactly where the former Prime Minister and not the President was candidate as actually, he had actually just finished his address and passing over the mic to his spokesperson, Raila, Mudavadi, before all hell broke loose, essentially. The security officers firing tear gas to disperse that is NASA supporters from gaining entry into Jacaranda. And as we are talking right now, what we're seeing is security officers trying to repulse and push back supporters far away from really gaining entry into that particular stadium. Now, this one, of course, in his address,
the former Prime Minister and NASA presidential candidate saying that he does not recognize President Uhuru Kenyatta as president. This despite the swearing-in ceremony that has happened today. And from the background, as you can see, is security officers engaging protest, or rather supporters, in running battles, and NASA supporters just pelting stones towards security officers as they are being actually pushed back. A section of leaders from NASA affiliate parties, and saying that he does not want a situation of Besigye in Uganda happening here in Kenya, where someone is sworn in, but he does not have the instruments of power, saying that what is going to happen is when they have that first inaugural People's Assembly, that is when he is going actually to be sworn in and take over office officially, as it were. So that is actually what has transpired, and as you can see at the foreground, that is NASA supporters actually being repulsed, and if you just tap it, you'll see security officers here doing all they can, really, to push back supporters of NASA from this particular area, clearing this particular stretch of the road. And as you see, as much as the security officers are moving on foot to clear the road, they're also being followed by their trucks. The trucks really to supplement the efforts of security officers, as well as if at all they run out of tear gas canisters, then there is actually a refill on standby, as it were. And a barricade here just erected right now, trying to block these trucks from making their way or following NASA supporters wherever they are. Of course, the convoy that had accompanied Raila Odinga, everyone scampering to safety. It was a battery of leaders really coming together to back or give support to NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga in his cause, a cause that is really to oppose the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his subsequent swearing-in ceremony today, as it were. Waihiga.